there can be biological changes or changes due to medicine, that kind of thing, and that's another thing. It's very complex, intertwined, unpredictable, and there's so many variables.
Yes, and the person may not even know why they've changed their attitude, and to try to link it to medication and what's happening. And I'm thinking about Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, and one of his agreements is to not take things personally.
Very hard to do, but yes.
Yes. Yeah, and say, what is happening here? Is this some sort of cognitive dissonance? Is it me? And not to project onto the other person what's going on inside of us, because most of us struggle on occasion with feelings of worthlessness or
Sure.
undercompetence, this not enough kind of syndrome. So basically to separate out and to really have boundaries. Do you think it's possible to have boundaries in a situation like this?
Well, that is one thing I'm learning, is having boundaries. And to expand on that, I was thinking about this today, as a matter of fact, that caregivers, I think, at the heart are deep nurturers, at least the ones who have stayed. There are many people who leave their spouses after a diagnosis. Oh, yes, it's very, very common.
Oh, my goodness.
It's very common, and I chose to stay on many levels for many reasons. One, I love them very much.
Yes.
And what happens during that time is that because we're so deeply nurturing, we often wonder, I wonder, am I doing too much for him? Am I babying him? How much do I do for him? How much do I let him do?
Right.
And also, too, I think we caregivers are control freaks.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think we have. Let me do that. Let me put the toothpaste on. Let me do this. Let me do that.
Yes.
Because it's hard for me to watch him struggle to do something. It's just easier if I do it.
Yes.
So that's one thing I'm struggling with is, do I allow him to do it even though he takes longer than the normal person, or do I do it just to help him out? And there's a lot of gray areas, and I have to set boundaries with that as well.
Right. And do you two discuss this? Like, would you like me to help you in a situation like this, or would you like to take a little longer and do it yourself?
Well,
and do you have to watch? I mean, I know when there's possible danger.
You're right about that, and I think that is something he and I have to discuss. You're bringing up a very good point.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So with these gray areas, and this is all uncharted territory, right?
It's all uncharted, but it's also familiar, and it keeps changing all the time.
Really?
It keeps changing because through the years he's declined in his abilities. So how much do I ride in on my white horse and rescue him, and how much do I let him be? I struggle with that.
Right. And you don't really know, again, what is helpful and what is, what's that word, enabling.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we have, if he has difficulty holding a spoon in eating, I'll say to him, do you need help? He'll say no, and then I'll respect that. And I've learned to just, let him eat, and he'll say, I need help getting the last couple bites, and I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's come to the point where I have to just sit and breathe and bite my tongue and let him do it and let the consequences fall where they may. It's very difficult. And again, it's about setting the boundaries, because I have to set my own boundaries. I have to put up a wall almost and say, no, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Let it happen, let it go, and try not to overthink it, and breathe.
right.
I do a lot of breathing.
Just keep breathing. Yes.
Keep breathing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I was interviewing someone fairly recently on mindfulness and the idea of the exhale. When we sigh, when we actually exhale, that is a sign that we are loosening the grip of these contractions. You know, when we go into the stress response, fight, flight, we contract. Our whole body contracts, and we stop breathing. So, or we breathe more shallowly. So, just loosening it up, witnessing. Oh, here's where I am. Oh, this is what's happening. I'm contracting. Okay, so I'm upset about this, or this is how I'm feeling. And in being a witness to ourselves, we can put a little space between this primitive brain that we have and our higher self, and just look at that and witness ourselves compassionately as we struggle, as we contract, and in so doing, we have a sigh. We exhale.
That is fabulous. What I like about that is that you're taking the focus off the person you're caring for, and you're focusing on yourself, and that's another way of self-caring.
Yes.
And as you said, you're paying attention to the biological response.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can have some control over it. Like you said, I'm contracting. Well, take a deep breath and exhale and leave the room if you have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you absolutely have to, leave the room.
Change of scenery.
Cold water on your face, something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
Yeah, the new brain literally has to catch up to the old primitive brain, because our old primitive brain is our permanent alarm system, and it's always scanning the environment for any threats, and it's always aware of that. And so it takes in information much, much faster than our new brain does, which has to process information.
Wow.
Yeah. So we really have to just wait long enough, as you say, to keep breathing, to literally let the new brain catch up.
That's fascinating.
I know.
That's really fascinating.
I know.
Stuff.
I think it is so fascinating as well, and it's so helpful to be mindful.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm wondering about the nature of wellspouses.org, and how often members typically have contact, and how does that work? Do you contact someone when you're upset, or do you have like a regular time that you check in?
Well, there's an online forum that's open 24 hours, as we always say.
Wow.
And it's just you go and you post something, I'm having a stressful day, or any topic. No topic is off limits. No topic. And people just respond, I'm sorry you're going through this. Have you tried that? We either offer suggestions or we just offer hugs. It gives us a safe place to yell, scream, cry, and vent. Mm-hmm. It's a safe place where others say, I get it.
Yes.
And it's having the company of someone who's going through something similar. I can't remember who was it. Winnie the Pooh. I can't remember who it was that said, a friendship is formed the instant someone says, what, you two? I thought I was the only one.
Right. Yes, yes.
And I want to mention that as a mentor, we do have a mentorship program, and I am a mentor, whereby if somebody needs just a little bit of extra help or extra someone to talk to, then I speak to someone on the phone, and it could only be once. That's all they need. I had a mentee several years ago with whom I spoke every week for about 20 minutes. Because she just needed that extra, I don't know what the heck is going on here, and I'm overwhelmed, and it just helps to talk to someone who understands.
It's beautiful. And in 12-step programs, they usually call that a sponsor.
Okay.
And, just the idea of the individual is attached to the larger organization, but that can be too overwhelming at times. So to have one key person that you're bonded to who is kind of like the link between the individual and the group.
Exactly. I recently got a new mentee, and about a week or so ago, we've been playing phone tag, and about a week or so ago, she called me in just hysterical tears. Because she had just yelled at her husband because she was so overwhelmed and so frustrated. And she felt so horribly guilty.
Yes.
And I just listened and let her cry. And I said, you are not experiencing anything that the rest of us haven't experienced either.
Right.
And that made her feel better. And I just kept saying, I get it. Yes, I get it. I said to her, I have broken remote controls. I have learned to throw non-breakable items like newspapers and pillows. The dishes are all safely stacked in my cupboards. I should have a lock on them from time to time. But
yes, that's a very good idea, Amy, to throw non-breakable items. Yes.
Exactly, throw non-breakable items. In fact, I was just reading about a place, I don't know where it is, I want to say maybe Boston, where somebody is building rooms in which you can go and throw plates.
Yeah.
And we at Well Spouse have considered doing that, actually.
Yes.
Someone actually said, go and throw plates somewhere. Other people, what they do is they become so frustrated that they will go out into the garage, into their car, and just scream.
Yeah. Screaming is good.
Screaming is good. It's very primal. I guess it releases that primal brain and puts it into the new brain. I don't know.
That's right. And we do have to close. I can't believe it. This show has just flown by. But driving and with the windows up and screaming, or beating up your bed with a hairbrush, or getting one of those bataki bats, the soft bats, and beating up a pillow. These are all ways to, when it's that distressful, then we need some sort of physical outlet where we're not hurting anyone, including ourselves.
Right.
Well, Amy Schaeffer Crawley.
Well, thank you,
Thank you so much. And,
you're welcome.
And I think the Well Spouse Association, what is it, .org or?
It's called wellspouse.org.
Oh, okay. Wellspouse.org.
Correct.
So, such a wonderful organization, and I'm so glad you found it and it's helped you, and hopefully other people will partake.
I hope
if they need it. Yes, thank you so much for your membership.
Welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Dr. Duffy Spencer saying goodbye for now and wishing you great relationships.